saying a special good morning to our listeners and viewers. Welcome to another edition of To The Point here on Classic Radio GBN TV. Good morning also to those of you via our social media platforms, our Facebook page, YouTube channels. Good morning to you. Hope you're having a great morning thus far. With us this morning from the RGPF, I'm trying to get a particular division I have with me this morning. Particular division. Is it the Northern District?
Division,
right.
yes.
Let me say good morning to Inspector, of course, Jasil granted us this morning, and nice to have you on today's edition of To The Point. How are you doing this morning? I should say happy Independence again. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you and to your listening audience. Thank you so much for having me here this morning. Additionally, yes, it's all of the celebration. It's Independence.
Yes.
Those of us who ascribe to Valentine's, we steadily going into it all of the, but more so for the Northern Division, the Sister Isles. Carriacou and Petit Martinique this weekend. Yeah. They will be celebrating Carnival 2026, so you can just imagine.
Carriacou does have a dose of everything, more than everything else in the mainland, for some reason.
For some reason. It's an island, or it's our two islands or twin island that is heavily involved in culture.
Yes.
So there are different aspects and they are so dynamic with the culture.
I agree. There's always something exciting happening in Carriacou when we just there on the mainland, just there. Anyway, so our main focus of the conversation this morning will be talking about Carriacou Carnival activities coming up. So imagine they get to celebrate Valentine's and Carnival at the same time.
Yeah,
interesting.
Certainly.
So you're spreading the love and having fun with it at the same time.
That's it.
The love. All right, so we know you're representing the Northern District, and we want to talk to folks about it, because Carnival activities comes around, and folks get to free up their minds just for a wee bit. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, the attention they should give to things that are of concern to them, sometimes they get to slow down on it a wee bit, if we speak in that particular manner. Mm-hmm. Now, let's talk about the aspirations of the Northern District, or division per se.
That's it, division.
Yes. I keep calling it district, but it's the division, Northern Division.
Yes. The aspiration for us for Carnival 2026 is very simple and straightforward, in that we hope to allow all of our patrons to enjoy the festival. Yes. We hope that it would be safe and in a peaceful manner. Thus, overall achievement that it is crime-free, and I want to go as strong as to say incident-free. Yeah, because there is a difference with crime and incident, So we're hoping that this carnival, we can say it was really a peaceful one, and additionally the patrons, the revelers, the spectators, the masqueraders, all on sundry had that opportunity to enjoy themselves.
Yeah, come out, have your fun,
Clean fun.
As they're saying, the simple saying go, you're drinking, don't drive. You understand? There's no need to walk with weapons that you don't need to walk around with. That's you're coming to have a good time.
Definitely.
You understand? Yes. So and I'm certainly happy that you have that particular aspiration. Just that you as the division, you do what you have to do in protecting everyone. But you're hoping that you could do it where you don't have to worry about these incidents occurring at the same time.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
I'll certainly do that. Now, the police and the community plays an important role in this. In terms of for you to get whatever your mandate for the season taking place to roll out smoothly. How would you the division like that particular with the police and the community, that partnership that you would want to see, how would you like to see that roll out this time around?
Well, we expect that it remains and maintain as is thus far, in that while Carnival would be celebrated Monday the 16th 5 a.m. to Tuesday 17 midnight, there were some lead-up activities, and those activities were basically crime-free, minimal domestic incidents, normal thing, petty crimes, and we are hoping to achieve that. But more so, the police alone can't do it.
Yes.
It must be that collaboration, that working unity between the community and the police, as well as the police and the community. So we are striving for that established partnership between the police and the community in achieving that. And if I may just go a little further, it was just January, a couple of weeks back, my seniors within the force executive, ACP Corwin Moso, to point out that he, for 2026, along with the executive, had a mandate for the RGPF in terms of our solvency rate for crimes. And there was a percentage margin that was set, and by all reports, we have exceeded that. Okay. And it was not just the police. It is because of that union, that relationship, that collaboration with the community and the police. So going into Carnival 2026, it is our hope and aspiration that the awareness comes alive and remain within our stakeholders, and also that they understand that the greater good for us is that they have a safe and peaceful festival, moreover being each other's keeper.
What more would the of course the division like to have with the community per se? What more? We know there's that basic that comes around already. You notice an incident taking place, you report it to the police. You want that partnership where where activities that may be taking place that you think is not going the right direction, the police is called and issues worked out amicably. What more would you like to see the community get involved with, especially with the police around this time of the year?
Well, we want them to first and foremost realize that safety and security is of paramount importance for all. And of course, I have this mantra that I love: if you see something, know something, hear something, we urge you to say something, we beg you to say something. Because sometimes, you look at situation and you say, man, that is petty. Yeah. They go solve that, and only to realize by a snap, it escalated. Yes. And that escalation can be a loss of life, some maiming, loss of a body part, severe damage to property. And if we only understand as to how to flick and realize that the police is there, in most instances after the incident occur, we are there to find some solution or to take some form of action. But I am saying to the community this morning, we as law enforcement is saying to our general community this morning, let us prevent.
Yes.
So we want the prevention. We want to enforce the whole aspect of conflict resolution, and let us not be out there with the weapons and say that a man dissed me and I had it for him and now is the time. We also want to say it's festival. Relax, calm, consume in terms of alcohol what your body could take. And while we say to them every festival, we want to stress it and bring it home for Carnival, and especially Carriacou Carnival 2026. So yes, we know that they would give us the information, we have that working relationship, and we just want it to enhance. But also, I want our community members, they are our stakeholders, they are partners with us, but I also want them to remember that when the police respond to a situation, even if you think it is simple and minor, because of our training and our experiences, we realize that that simple and minor or trivial incident can increase or get out of hand. So we step in just to take away the partners, just to get the parties to understand, now is not the time, or that's not the way to handle it. Let us look at, sometimes just taking away one party out of the situation can cause a quell. So we're asking loved ones, we're asking friends and family, when or if situation like these arise and the police have to be called in or intervene, please do not cause further obstruction or cause the parties to become more aggressive, but to work with us and to get it to quell and best resolve.
Okay, that early involvement could, of course, de-escalate the whole situation.
Definitely.
To a minimal level. It may lead to individuals may not want to talk to each other. That is a small thing that we will see locally, but having that escalated at the earliest convenience is better than leaving it and let it fester for a little bit for more time, and then folks go home and they start premeditating things that should not have gotten to that level. You understand? So I like what you say that in terms of the community get involved. Do not try to interfere more than you should be. You know, folks, they like to protect one another. We understand that, especially when it comes around to family members and so like that. They always have the impression that the police coming to take my family out.
Yes,
but it's not really the main reason. It's not really the main reason. It's just a form of de-escalating and getting someone the opportunity. Because sometimes a mere conversation could change things. And the police having a conversation with someone or one of the parties who may be involved in that particular incident, that conversation could just change things. Because sometimes they're not thinking in a matter to reduce the circumstances of what is taking place. And having that conversation with a member of the RGPF could make a whole lot of difference.
Exactly.
And sometimes you feel, especially when carnival and stuff comes wrong, not having that conversation does make a lot of difference, because sometimes you're not thinking for yourself.
Yeah, and not just that, some of us have helpers or aides at that time, because you have situation where you consume alcohol more than in instances you don't normally consume.
Not only the alcohol, other substances can influence you too.
Exactly. And then again, we have to prove a point, because you have bystanders, you have other parties standing there looking on, and they may join you on in a particular direction. So you're not just thinking.
And it's not best for you.
Definitely. So all of that is reasons why. But I've also realized within my policing experience that when you, as law enforcement or a level of authority, steps in those situations, you allow both parties to be heard, and it is orderly. So then party A would get to realize, well, what happened? And it's just misunderstanding. I say to you, I love when I respond to incidents of those nature, and you look at men, macho men, just say, man, it was a misconception, or I didn't get it that way, and you see one stretch their hand for as a means to definitely. I feel so good in instances like that. So that's what we want to encourage.
Sometimes I smile a bit when I hear about traffic incidents in Carriacou for some reason. I mean, I'm not saying there's something, someone like the other day was listening to the traffic update, and they talk about that there was an accident in Petit Martinique. I was like, wow. Not for the fun of it, but it sounds a little bit funny. Education and preventing traffic offenses, because we know there are probably individuals from the mainland who will be coming up, and maybe for some reason they may not have been regularly driving around Carriacou and stuff like that, may not understand the functionality of the road system in Carriacou for various reasons.
Yes.
It's different on the mainland. So educating themselves, especially around this period, how important is that?
Well, it is extremely important, and it is as important as wanting to leave your home and coming to Carriacou to enjoy the festival, because there will be a traffic arrangement for the carnival period, which I beg of you that we can do later down in the program, so you stick with our listeners, but more so to get them to understand that there will be a gathering, there will be people in clusters or grouping, and the traffic that you once knew or perceived should be might just be altered or rearranged, because we have to accommodate the gathering, the masqueraders, the spectators, and so forth. So yes, it is important for you as a motorist, whether it is a driver, a pedestrian, operator, whatever form it is, because you need to know where to get a bus, where you will get the taxi, where to park in so that the persons that transported with you to come to each of the activity know where to come back and meet you. You also want to be aware that you're parking areas that is best safe for your motor vehicle while you're enjoying yourself at the activity. Additionally, you want to make sure that you do not commit any infraction or offenses in regards to the traffic management.
Nice to be locked up on carnival time.
Oh no, and I really pray that we do not have any. But while locked up might be the extreme, we also want to remind persons that in Carriacou there is a traffic department, and of course all officers are traffic officers. Carriacou do have clamps, we do have ticket books, and all of these are consequences for years or action. But we want to say to all and sundry, whether you are local Carriacouian or Petit Martinican, or whether you are coming over to enjoy the festival with us, please adhere to the traffic rules and regulations. There is no need to drink under the influence of alcohol. You know you're coming out to a festival, you know you like your alcohol or you'll be having a time, get a designated driver. Make arrangement with a taxi operator. There's lots of young men or vehicle owners in Carriacou that does taxi services.
Yes.
Make some connection. If you have relatives, loved ones, friends, have a designated driver. Or maybe you carpool. Yeah. So you park at your friend and you know your friend do not consume alcohol. So you leave your vehicle there. He or she takes you to the activity or the venue and you can enjoy yourself and you'll be transported back safely. That's one. The other offense that we realize that is normally prevalent around festive time is that of driving without your seatbelt. Yeah. One may say, well, the seatbelt is for my safety. Yeah, it's for your safety, but when you lose control of that vehicle, any other person or property that you comes into contact with can also be a victim. Yes. We also have the whole issue of driving while using handheld device or cell phone, long and short of it. And I am noticing that a lot of our motor vehicle operators, they don't just use the cell phone and maneuver it in one hand. Some of them have the tablets for whatever reason. That's the device that they're using. And imagine trying to maneuver a vehicle. One, you do not understand the traffic or the street way that you are traveling. Two, you're fighting to maneuver with that device in your hand because you don't want it to drop. And three, you have to pay attention to the oncoming traffic and your surrounding. Let's just put ourselves in that picture and see what the sad realities could be. Yeah. So all of these are the normal or most prevalent offenses that we have. We also are aware that because the first period of the motor vehicle inspection cycle will be over in pretty soon, 15th February. We are aware that persons would want to take that chance and opportunity because they would say, you know what, all them police have their heavy hands in Hillsborough. They have too much to do. But
so
let me say,
I go drive around still.
That's it. Yeah. But let me say to you, we'll be doing our patrols and we want it to be safe. It's not that looking for targeted persons, but to ensure that all are safe. So we would be looking out for you just as though you're looking for us. But more so, one of the issues I notice that we struggle a lot with the traffic is persons disrespecting traffic signs.
Okay.
You know, I have 24 years service as a police officer, and nothing hurts or bleeds me, Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique, that when the police, as authorized by the Commissioner of Police, who is a chief traffic officer, and you put a sign, you still have to plant an officer there to enforce that sign.
I understand where you're coming from with this. If they say there's a detour, why would you want to? Or there's a no entry sign, why would you feel, well, I should forgo what I saw in terms of the sign and go to the no entry? Mm-hmm. Or maybe because my home is there. Some situations are maybe understandable. Yes. But I think necessary questions could be asked with the traffic department. Definitely. I know you have a detour there, but I live here. Could I... That may be understandable. Yeah. And if they say no entry, there should be no entry. And you know, you're correct about that. And you said you've been an officer that long, and you see folks continue to disrespect the sign that says no entry or no parking. You understand? I certainly understand that a whole lot.
Yes. So in light of the traffic signs, it will be manned. And I want to urge our listeners, I want to urge all who is coming to Carriacou to enjoy the festival or wherever you are, and you see the police signs are being erected, I beg of you, please communicate before you enter, because that might just be putting you and putting another life in danger. Because, for example, without going into the traffic, Main Street Hillsborough normally flow in a downward or a southward direction, but the traffic will be cut off at a certain point, which says that traffic would not be able to flow at all on Main Street. So when we put a no entry sign or a deter sign, and you think, well, they're not significant, they up on Main Street, only to realize you are there. And I'm not just looking at a ban of jab or shotney or whatever. What if at that moment the spectators, the revelers, they're not expecting traffic to be there because they know the road or the street is cut off, and they're having their time, and you come in hoping that you can have them cross that ban. and God forbid. So this is how I want us to think as motor vehicle operators as we go into Carnival 2026.
All right. We're due for a break, Inspector. Let's take that break. When we come back, we continue the conversation. Stay with us, folks. It's To The Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. We will be right back after the break. Don't touch it out.
The countdown is on for the most exciting relay showdown in the nation. The IMA National Relay Meet, started for Saturday, February 21st, 2026, 3 p.m. at the Kirani James Athletic Stadium. Come witness speed, relentless competition, and heart-pounding relays that will keep you at the edge of your seats from start to finish. The island's fastest teams will battle for glory, but who will rise to the top and claim the prizes? You have to be there to see live. Admission finish line $50, main stand $30, secondary stand $20, and bleachers $15. Children 12 and under pay $15 for main and secondary stands and bleachers. Get your tickets. Feel the speed. The IMA National Relay Meet 2026, the ultimate relay experience.
Grenada, something good is coming. It's closer than you think. A small moment can change your whole day. A new kind of fun is about to begin. Grenada, your day's about to pop.
My name is Liselle Walcott. I'm a staff nurse at the General Hospital for the past 16 years. At the Infection Control Department, we do surveillance for communicable diseases or hospital-acquired infections. We do outbreak investigations. So any issues we have, we would investigate it, find out the cause, and we would do recommendations and interventions to all relevant departments. Thus far, with Mount Sinai, we are looking at ways of improving hand hygiene. Hand hygiene has been proven to be one of the most important practices you could do to break the chain of infection. Working along with Mount Sinai, I foresee that it would be a very good thing for us. They are looking into the products that we use, the practices that we do. Going forward, we'll be able to achieve a very high level of compliance and safety across the board for everyone.
Camahorn Boat, a powerful multimedia production, presented at Carafesta 15, written and directed by Chris DeRiggs. One big performance, only at the Grenada Trade Center on Saturday, 7th March at 7 p.m. The Camahorn Boat is the ship of state, Grenada, sailing to its destiny. The Camahorn Boat is a call for unity, an exciting story about patriotism, played out by Grenada's best acting talents, featuring Samuel Ogilvie, Robert White, Debbie Gilchrist, Bianchi Toussaint, Dillian Walters, and others. Come out and join us in celebrating our Grenadianness on Saturday, 7th March, 7 p.m. at the Grenada Trade Center. Admission almost free. Advance tickets are $50, $65 at the door. Your ticket outlets: Giddens Pharmacy Grand Anse, Art and Soul Bookstore, Spiceline Mall, Mitchell's Pharmacy Grand Anse, 3B's Shoe Store, downtown St. George, and other places. Bring out the entire family and enjoy a wonderful evening of Grenadian theater on 7th March at Grenada Trade Center, 7 p.m.
Do you own an antique, a classic, a custom-built car or motorcycle, or a fully loaded modern car or truck? Come, show off your ride. Register now to be part of Grenada Auto Fest, and you can win part of the grand prize of over $50,000 in cash and prizes. Register online via our social media pages or at www.grenadaautofest.com. Saturday, March 14th at the Royal St. John's playing field, we recognize our partner, Wagity Renters and Son Company, True Blue Bay Boutique Resort, On The Spot Hardware, and all the companies that sponsored our category prizes. Remember, over $50,000 in cash and prizes to be won. Grenada Auto Fest, Saturday, March 14th, Tantine.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers. Once again, it's To The Point, Classic Radio GBN TV. We have Inspector, of course, Grant with us this morning. How am I getting your name right? Grant, right? Inspector Grant. Inspector Grant with us this morning. And, of course, she's from the Northern District. And our conversation, of course, will be a whole lot on, of course, the activities that will be taking place in Carriacou. We know Carriacou Carnival is coming up. 2026 Carriacou Carnival is coming up, and our conversation is certainly based around that. Inspector Grant, welcome back once again.
Thank you.
Vehicles, boats, to and from the mainland. We're expecting that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Folks may think, well, I want to come up to Carriacou and rent a car. You understand? Or maybe I do have friends up there, but I may not want to, ask for a ride.
Yes.
Some people to carry my own. No, the safety of these things is important.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me in relation to that. What are the plans for the Northern District in reference to that?
Well, in regards to persons wanting to take their vehicles to Carriacou, we know that there is 2 of the cargo boats in St. George's that normally accommodate that transportation or movement. We want to again ask the operators or owners to ensure that their vehicle is roadworthy in terms of licensing and insure. We want to ensure that the operators of those vehicles are in place in terms of the license, the class of license for the type of vehicle that they intend to. But more so, I want to stress a little bit on the whole aspect of safety at sea. Persons who would want to use, as we would say, their speedboat or their fishing boat to come over to Carriacou. Some of them, like the fisher folk from Soubise and St. John's and the western side, they would say, well, I'm just going up for the juvie and I'll use my speedboat, 2 tours. Well, while that is so, we just want to remind you, operators, that ensure that your system is effective and working. Charge up your cell phones, ensure that you have sufficient credit on it, and if possible have a battery pack in the event that any mishap and your phone die out, that you can top it up. We also want to say to you that you have your VHF radio and all the other safety mechanisms that the Fisheries Authority says you're supposed to have to operate those fishing vessels or speedboats, that they are in effect. Additionally, we want to ask of you, all of us have a next of kin, as good as we are, quote unquote, or bad as we are. Yeah. Say to a loved one, say to a friend, I am going to Carriacou for the Juve or for the duration of Carriacou Carnival. I am leaving here, home, whichever bay your boat is docked at 6 a.m. I would be in the company of Tom, Dick, and Harry. Do not travel alone because you know the water out there. Do not jump on board and just shake out, as we say in local language, without communicating with anybody else. So in the event that we didn't get a call from you, or you didn't arrive in Carriacou, or there is some communication, we know that you left for Carriacou, and this is the expectation. We also want to advise that you don't travel alone with your vessel, but you team up with other vessel operators. So 2-3 of you as speedboats or small fishing boats can leave, whether it is Soubise in St. Andrews or Duquesne Bay on the western side, or even Guave, and you know you are going up in a convoy. So in the event something happens, there is someone that can assist. Additionally, don't just leave and say, well, okay, I had 2 other persons with me, and then there is a mishap. They can't even help you themselves. They can't swim. They don't know how to connect any of the safety mechanisms on board. So we're asking you to think proactive, think safety, think of your life, think of your loved ones in the event that there is a mishap, that you know that I have done everything. Ensure to have the necessary contact. How do I get in touch with Coast Guard? How do I get in touch with maybe my fishing corporation from where I am from? How do I communicate with someone else? Where is your flares? Do you have your life jackets on board for all of the passengers that you intend to be carrying? Do you have sufficient water? Do you have sufficient fuel to take you to that journey? Because mind your JT, when you look out there and around this time, the water bad.
We've been seeing what it's been like for the last couple of days also.
Definitely. I do not want us, in the midst of wanting to showcase our culture, to come out and socialize with your sister island brothers and sisters. And there is a mishap as we had a couple of years back. Unfortunately, I had relatives, I had loved ones in that, because it was St. Patrick's people in that situation where a few lives were lost. Yeah. Let that be a thing of the past. And if it have to happen, or if it happens at all, let it be said that he took all precautionary measure, but God forbid. So I just want to speak to our speedboat, our small fishing vessel operators, the owners. Please take all this safety mechanism in place, embrace it, exercise it, and let us have a safe one.
I thought this come to mind. Folk that uses those boats for the purpose that is not intended for. Okay, sometimes these small boats are used for fishing purposes. Yes. And then they decide, I want to take passengers aboard. And it was not intended for that particular purpose. How concerning is that for the division?
Of course it is, because like it or not, JT, in situations like that, it puts added burden on our limited human resource. Yes. So whereby Coast Guard, of course, will be in Karakou during the period. How their trip will be scheduled, it's a different question. But take, for example, that while the officers should be putting the emphasis on policing the on-island activities, you get a call that a speedboat just X amount of miles outside of Belmont, Harveyville area went into some distress. Because why? The boat was not appropriate for that journey. Yes. The boat did not have all of the safety mechanism. Or as simple as I'm watching Karakou there and I'm going down because there was a hole and I didn't expect it to take in all of that water, more so with the load on board. And you cannot make a call. Why? My phone not charged, or I do not have sufficient credit to make that call. And as simple as making an emergency call, there is no charge or battery life. So you cannot even call 911 or call Coast Guard emergency number to say, here am I, looking at Harveyville, looking at Belmont, I'm at the south of the area, and there is nothing to be done. So it is of concern to us, and not just our resources, but of course, JT, the loss of one life is way too many, too much. And in the worst case scenario, if we did not lose a life, but you happen to be severely injured as a result, you put added pressure on your loved ones to care for you, to nurse you back to normal health. All of that could and can be avoided. If your boat is not fitted for that purpose, utilize the Osprey. Yeah. Utilize the other established cargo boats or those ferries that travel from St. George's to Karakou. Call and verify the time. Call the Grenada Port Authority and find out what time that boat leaving, or how can I get the contact for them. Call somebody in Karakou to get that information. And you know what? It will be safer. It may cost you $2 to have to jump on board because you need the ticket, but when you think about life, when you think why I'm going to Karakou, it might just be the best decision.
That's where you get to use your own personal discretion.
Definitely.
I may get a speedboat ride which may cost me $1, but I could have paid $5 to get there safe.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
Because you may say the speedboat may get you there faster and whatever you may think, and it costs you cheaper, but you may be risking your life. Yes. So that leads us to the conversation of personal safety right now. Folks heading up to Karakou, whether it's from the mainland or folks in Karakou, your personal safety plays an important role also in terms of how you go about enjoying yourself. When we say personal safety, how would you like to speak or probably render some tips to individuals in terms of their personal safety at these events that are coming up?
Well, I'm so happy that you asked this question, and for sure, JT, I love the mantra of the fire department. Yeah. You must be alive to save a life. You must reach a life to save a life. And I want us to employ that method for Karakou Carnival 2026 and every other activity that you intend to go to as a social mechanism. One, if you know you can only drink a beer, be man enough, be woman enough, and drink your one beer.
Know your limits, as they would say.
Definitely know your limits, because you may try to prove a point and you take too many and we know what can happen. As we spoke earlier on in regards to our conduct at those activities, just a bit, someone's overconsumption of alcohol, and someone step on your foot or someone bunks you, that alone erupt into a wider explosion. So that's one. You also need to ensure that you hydrate yourself properly. So plenty water, not alcohol, water. You are properly hydrated. JT, Carriacou sun is not like Grenada sun. And it is a reality. So I want to say to persons, dress appropriately. While it is carnival, while it is masquerading, consider Carriacou, the main street of Hillsborough. Now, mind you, we don't have water like mainland. And there is one street standpipe along the entire street. But none of the activities is close to that pipe. Additionally, there isn't always water in it based on the water system in Carriacou. So all of that are reasons why you need to hydrate yourself properly. Yes. You need to take adequate rest. You need to boost your supplement intake, because we hear of the ministry indicating that we have that whole issue of tuberculosis. Yes. And we know when we are in large gathering how we behave and display ourselves. So all of that need to be considered. I want to beg persons to not take it lightly, but use sunscreens or cream, whatever protection mechanism for your skin, because Carriacou is not like mainland. The sun can be very intense. But also, you come into activities, it will be crowded. I beg of you, leave your valuables at home. Don't come to the activities with it. There is no need to show a point. You don't need the excessive jewelry. You don't need all this amount of cash to come and show off. And even if you think, well, I need to have X amount of cash with me in case I meet a loved one or a friend, ensure that you have it properly secured on you. Your back pocket, whether male or female, is not the best place. You might just get a knack or a bounce and you think, well, moving through the crowd, and when you're ready to get a water, you realize your wallet gone, your cell phone disappear. I would ask and encourage that you use the cross body bags to properly secure your items. If you have to store in your pockets, make sure it is fastened, whether it is by a button or zip, or whether you have to use pins, as our grandmothers say, to have it properly secured on us, right? Persons who has licensed firearms. Yeah. I want to strongly encourage you and speak to you this morning and say it makes no sense coming to those activities with it. You know it would be large crowd gathering, and something may just happen, and because you know you have it, you make a decision that you would never normally make, and the consequence of it might just be detrimental to you or your family, destroy everything that you have achieved. So make good decision. In terms of confrontations, as said before, but we cannot overemphasize that, is make wise decision. It is okay to say sorry and walk away. JT, there are times I work at activities and I'm cladded in the uniform of the RGPF. Am I going through the crowd in performing my duty? I may step on someone's toe because of how crowded, or I bounce them accidentally, and I turn back, sorry sir, all right brother, that's okay, I'm sorry, just to ensure that nothing feels out of the way or the person misconstrued what happened. So all of these are things we are asking persons to strongly practice and to make good decision in terms of personal safety. Right. The more so in terms of your personal safety, just as we ask you to travel in clusters, we are asking you to come out in the activities with other persons. Try not to be alone. And
trustworthy individuals also.
That's the key. Trustworthy individuals. JT, like it or not, America is not what we knew America used to be, you know. America is right here in Grenada because we have become so globally knitted and packages are transported so quickly to us that persons need not to leave their drinks unattended. And you also need to be aware as to who do you take an open drink from if you choose to do so. Because we might be liming together, we hang together, but I don't know what is your intention for any mal
have
intent.
Alternative intentions at times.
Definitely. So you go into the bathroom, which you don't normally go with your drink under normal condition, but go with it in the bathroom. Definitely, for your own safety. But let us just be safe personally, and if we are safe personally, obviously, we would be able to protect our loved ones.
Exactly. You know, folks may think about taking their children to activities or not, and you tend to leave them home and stuff like that. What kind of advice would you like to speak to an individual in relation to that, you know, who decide to take their sons and daughters to the, or maybe decide, I'm not going to take them, I'm only going to leave them home. Some of them may leave them unattended or leave them in the company of younger ones or other ones who just maybe a year or two older than them who may not be able to offer that supervision that they should get from an adult, per se. What advice would you throw to individuals in relation to that?
Right. So let us look at the aspect of going with your children or your young ones at the activity. I want to stress on the consumption of alcohol or any other substance that can alter your mind or your behavior. That you consume what you know you can handle because you have other lives that you are responsible for at the moment. I want to ask of those guardians and parents to keep the young ones close to them. I want to ask of them to dress them appropriately, be it boy or girl. We teach our kindergarten students that they should always cover the part that the batsuit or the bathing trunk cover. And even if it is carnival, and even if it is children, let us continue that same practice that we cover them properly. We also want to establish a meeting point. So, for example, Main Street, Hillsborough, Juve morning, your child, your young one happen to get lost from you. You say to them, if at any chance you get lost in the crowd, I want you to go stand up by Bulling Supermarket, that big orange building in town, stand right here. Go by the police station right in the entrance, or go by Republic Bank. Don't just tell them go there. Call specific location, take them to those locations and let them know if you get lost from me or your bigger brother or whoever you're in Hillsborough with, go stand there because that's where we'll be coming and check. If you get lost, come here, you would meet me right here. And more so, while our children nowadays are very smart, they are very knowledgeable, but sometimes when you're in a situation that you're not prepared or expecting, it can alter your judgment and your memory. So stick your contact number in their pocket, somewhere on them. So just in case they get lost, that some authority, some adults can make contact with you so that you can find them. More so, or on the same hand, if you come into the activity and you're not coming with the children, but you're leaving them at home, ensure that they have proper supervision.
Yes.
Proper supervision. Don't tell me they're home with grandma or nanny or tanty and grandma in bed, grandma barely could walk. What supervision can be given? Let us also remember that you prepare meals based on the age of your children. You prepare meals and you leave it with them with the supervision. So they have no choice or no reason to have to light the stove. Don't tell me they're big enough and they're accustomed cooking their ramen and eggs because, you know, they're paying attention to their device, they're doing other things, and they may just forget that stove.
The slightest distraction, you know, what can occur.
Definitely.
Slightest distraction.
So these are the simple things that we're asking, and we should also let them know as to, in the event of a mishap or something happen, who do I call? What are the numbers that I immediately contact? Where do I run to if something happen at home and I need to run to safety? Which point do I go at? Where do we all congregate for that level of safety? So these are the tips, along with those that we are accustomed giving at every other festive time, that we want to ask persons to practice and see with their children.
Right. Inspector, we drew for a short break. Let's take it. Time is really running on us this morning, but we drew for a short break. Let's take it when we come back. And when we come back, I want us to speak about, you know, respect for law enforcement.
Certainly.
It's certainly something that we, you know, festive times occur and folks tend to drop their guard in relation to that. So that when we come back, we talk about that a wee bit. Stay with us, folks. We'll be right back. Don't touch it down.
Do you own an antique?
Grenada, something good is coming. It's closer than you think. A small moment can change your whole day. A new kind of fun is about to begin. Grenada, your day's about to pop.
Grenada, the countdown is on for the most exciting relay showdown in the nation. The IMA National Relay Meet, headed for Saturday, February 21st, 2026, 3 p.m. at the Kirani James Athletic Stadium. Come witness speed, relentless competition, and heart-pounding relays that will keep you at the edge of your seats from start to finish. The island's fastest teams will battle for glory, but who will rise to the top and claim the prizes? You have to be there to see live. Admission finish line $50, main stand $30, secondary stand $20, and bleachers $15. Children 12 and under pay $15 for main and secondary stands and bleachers. Get your tickets. Feel the speed. The IMA National Relay Meet 2026, the ultimate relay experience.
This Valentine, celebrate under the stars at Love Fest. Saturday, February 14th at Quarantine Point Recreational Park from 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. Featuring all the way from Antigua, Burning Flames. Also live, Sabrina Francis, Rita, and Ultimate Perfections Band, Pan Wizards, and more. General admission starts at $100. Grab a couple special for only $180 while stocks last. Tickets are available at Grenadian Optical, Eventbrite, and GoToFed.com. Upgrade your experience with our bottle service, Sweetheart Table for Two, or a more private Cupid's Cabana. Our Love Fest partners, Lashington Agency, Sunrise Airways, Netherlands Insurance, GBN, Boss FM, Grenada Tourism Authority, Flow. Produced by Upstage. Love Fest is on Valentine's Day, Saturday, February 14th, starting 6 p.m. at Quarantine Point.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers. Of course, myself and, of course, Inspector Graham, we're having a little bit of off-air conversation there. As I mentioned before the break, I want us to talk about respect for law enforcement and event rules during the activities. I want you to speak on that briefly for me. Let's see what the division plan to deal with that. And just a way of encouragement to allow patrons, and especially when they're attending events, the respect they should have for law enforcement in general.
Mm-hmm. So more so, speaking to Carnival, one should realize that the police is not just there to arrest or to prevent you from having fun. We are there to make sure that you have clean, healthy fun and to enjoy yourselves. So, as indicated earlier on in our conversation, that a situation ensue or we see something happening, before it escalates, the police would step in to prevent an escalation. Do not obstruct the police. If you cannot give genuine help, do not obstruct. But more so, I urge you to have respect for law enforcement, have respect for even the organizers of the activities, because they are the one responsible. Now, based on your behavior, let's say hypothetically, if Juve is supposed to go 5 to 11, hypothetically, I'm not saying that's the time, but let's say it have 2. But if there is so much fights, and we don't expect bottles at the Juve, but just in case if there is, and there is fights, or there is mishaps, or there is incidents, then we would have to cut it short. Yes. And as long as we stop the music, and crowd control will tell you, if you pull away the leader, then things will subside. We don't want to reach at that. But I'm raising these issues as to some of the things that can prevent or cause the activity to cut short. Mm-hmm. So the police is there is not for those purposes. It's to ensure that you have clean and healthy fun. So in light of obstruction to the police in the execution of their duties, I want to say to you, abstain from doing that. If you see the police respond in a particular manner and you think it was not professional, or you think it was not in the best based on what you understand law enforcement to be, all I'm saying to you, you observe and then you go to the station. Carriacou Station is right there. There is a channel and a procedure that you report officers who have demonstrated or display misconduct. So you don't need to go there and add to what is happening to have it to escalate. We also want you to respect all rules given. So if it is stated, especially to our band leaders and our masqueraders, if you are told that the band should be traveling in a particular direction, end on X Street and return back or make a detour, just obey that. Do not go beyond. The other thing we're saying to the masqueraders, do not deface or people property or business places or buildings within the town. Now, if you are found doing it and it is proven to be an intentional act, the law says you are committing an offense and the necessary actions would be taken. So we want to ask you, and one may say, what is respect for law enforcement? Just simple obeying the laws. Yeah. So you are told that you shouldn't have any form of weapon on you, no weapon. You are told that you shouldn't use threatening, obscene or profane language to other person because the law says it's an offense, just stay away from it, abstain from it. And let us ensure that Carnival 2026 for Carriacou is peaceful. There are some Carnival rules that are there from within the law as it regards to the wildlife. I want to ask persons, please do not maltreat the wildlife and have them there. Even more so, we realize at Carnival and Juve there is an influx or an increase in that of the flammable materials, the bop and the bacon and the lighters. We look at safety for self, safety for other persons that would be at the activities.
All right, great. I'm great. And I certainly hope folks would follow, simply follow these rules, and you will see how lovely and you will enjoy yourself incident free. There's another thing we want to tell you that we missed in the intro. You were planning to say you were doing a lot of part in terms of the vehicle car, or the regulation in terms of that. Let's talk about that a wee bit, and we'll take a couple calls from our listeners and viewers. We may have an extra 5 minutes or so after the hour.
Okay then. So just to highlight the traffic arrangement, and I want to say to persons, please, if there's anything that I say now in terms of its exact location that you do not locked down or you cannot pinpoint it because you're not from Carriacou, feel free to contact the station. Feel free to come into the station. If you don't know Carriacou station number, you call 911. It's a free call. Ask them to put you onto Carriacou.
But you can miss it though.
Definitely. Ask them for the Carriacou police station number and you can communicate with us. So to clarify or to state clearly, the masqueraders will be parading from Lower Main Street, that is Mermaid Hotel, upwards Hillsborough. So they will be going in an upward direction. So from Mermaid Hotel, that intersection there, the resource center, that intersection there, that's where all of the parades would start. So whether it's a Juve, whether it's the Monday evening parade, Monday night mass, last lap, jump up, you start from that intersection. You parade up Main Street onto the intersection of Main Street and the Patterson Street, and then you continue on to Patterson Street, that's by the gas station area, on to First Avenue, that's a tennis court area, back to Church Street, that's a street for Matheson Supermarket, but you're not going all up there, right? In that intersection there, back down to the station area onto Main Street, and you do that for the duration of the time or as long as you're not tired and you enjoy yourself. Do not go, band leaders, masqueraders, we ask you do not go outside of the route based on the traffic arrangement, all right? So one-way traffic for Carnival from 5 a.m. Juve morning, 2nd Avenue from Church Street to Patterson Street, Patterson Street from 1st Avenue to 2nd Avenue, 1st Avenue from Patterson Street to Middle Street, Middle Street from 1st Avenue to Market Street. Fort Hill will be a one-way. And Fort Hill, for those of you who are wondering, that's when you're at Brunswick Cemetery. So if you come from the south of the island to enter into the town, Brunswick Cemetery, that big cemetery there, you come up the hill. Yes, one way.
Okay.
2nd Avenue from Patterson Street to Morris Street, the whole of Morris Street. Main Street from Middle Street to Morris Street. Middle Street from Market Street to Main Street. Church Street from 1st Avenue to 2nd Avenue. I know you may have some confusion in locating the name of the streets and so forth, but my officers would be there to give you the necessary guidance as needed, and as well you can contact. Additionally, all of the one-way streets are parking areas, so you are allowed to park there likewise.
Okay.
So remember the free flow of the traffic, but you are also allowed to park. Let us go into the two-way parking. Two-way traffic, not parking, but the two-way traffic, sorry. 2nd Avenue from Patterson Street to Morris Street. The whole of Morris Street will also be two-way parking. Main Street from Middle Street to Morris Street. Middle Street from the Market Square to Main Street. Church Street from 1st to 2nd Avenue. And also additional parking area for private vehicles would be the Market Square, which is also our bus terminal. I know you're asking where would the buses be parking if we have the tongue so cut off, and we have accommodation for them. Now, JT, the tongue of Hillsborough is not a south. Yes. So understanding that, those buses that are coming from the south, that's Leicester, BBH, Bellevue South, Harveyville, Belmont, Lauriston. So when you reach Fort Hill, and that's only for the buses, when you get to Fort Hill, you all the way down at the intersection of Church Street and 2nd Avenue. That's just the intersection by Ariza Credit Union. You continue down Church Street. You will get to the intersection of 1st Avenue. You would turn there, head back up. That is the same Church Street, and along that intersection to Matheson Supermarket, you will be able to park, drop off your passengers, take on passengers. So that's where persons for the south side would go and wait on the buses.
Okay.
In regards to business owners, because we have some prominent supermarkets there, Kim the Kim, Matheson, and other businesses, yes, you will, if you're so minded to continue your business, you can also park as a business operators, but you must stay on your compound, not on the road, understanding how that street would be run. If person wishes to utilize a business place in terms of driving through, that would be at the discretion of the officers that are posted at that location. Okay, the buses for the northern side, you're talking about Top Hill, Mount Pleasant, Bel Air, Dover, Windward area, where the bus would be parking would be on Upper Main Street. Upper Main Street, Hillsborough be parking. That's Addie's Dream area there. Right. So I know normally the traffic do not flow in that direction, but the buses only will be allowed to travel in that area. And that's the only traffic that will take in place there. So you come from Boucherjou, the intersection, that's Middle Street and Upper Main Street, right by the shoemaker shop, you would continue on Upper Main Street, reach as far as the intersection of Upper Main Street and Patterson Street, turn at that intersection, get back up opposite to Addie's Dream, that's in front of Blast, where the buses will park and take on or drop off their passengers. Okay. So, of course, if you're in doubt, my officers would be there. Yes. We would be there to give you the necessary direction.
I help you with in assisting in you understand.
For the major activities, the finals, yes, that will be taking place at the Hillsborough Recreational Ground and the Ring Road. For the recreational ground, there would be a one-way traffic in a clockwise direction. Again, you need not to stress because there will be officers along the way, right in the vicinity, that can assist you if you have any difficulties.
Okay, and I think that, of course, the arrangement is understandable.
Definitely.
Well, not for me. I'll be having problems in Carriacou.
No, you will get through. You will get through smoothly.
I will certainly have problems in Carriacou. We still, of course, will take a few more minutes before we wrap this morning. I give this segment to our listeners and viewers, as if you're doing Carriacou and you need to ask, of course, Inspector Grant any question, you feel free to do so in this segment. 435-2041. We do have a first caller. Caller via WhatsApp. Good morning, you're live.
Good morning, Inspector.
Good morning.
Yes. I have a few questions. Does Grenada have more than one carnival according to its rules, regulation, or laws? Secondly, it is a festival. Does that festival have rules and regulation that is published in the Gazette? with regard to all these traffic changes, today is already Thursday. It is a well-known date for carnival or festivals. Why is it that we don't have those rules and regulations made known to the public for their full cooperation at least 1 week, 14 days or 21 days before those activities, and have it published and featured, shown, advertised on prominent buildings so that the public knows or people visiting would know? That would certainly help to have the cooperation of the public. Let's not make that mistake in 2027, 2028 going forward. One other thing, Inspector Grant, we all know that the cooperation of the public is needed in terms of solving crime. And you're quite right, the police on many occasions, most occasions, come after the crime is committed. Well, in terms of crime prevention, does your police service in the Northern District, be it in St. Patrick or in Carrick or in P.T. Martinique, do they have any pirogue, any boat, any means of making secure the shows around those areas, be it the island of Carrick or P.T. Martinique or the northern part of the island? If not, please make an effort to enlighten the powers that be to have that available so that, you can do your work in a more effective manner. Thank you. Have a blessed day.
Thank you, caller. Thank you. Any response to the caller?
Thank you so much for your questions, and certainly it will be taken on board, but we do not have prominent boats stationed as for police at the various district or divisions, but when there is a situation, if the need arises, we do embark on the services of the Coast Guard and other corporate citizens that have that mechanism. But your suggestion and question is on board. In regards to the first one, yes, we are aware that the Carriacou Carnival is a festival and is not slated on, but it is one of the major activities that takes place in Carriacou. Being here at GBN this morning is just one of the means of educating persons as to the traffic route. There is a radio station that we utilize in Carriacou that has been having that build up. That's Vibes FM. But of course, where there is room for improvement, we would embrace it, and certainly for 2027, some of your recommendation will be employed.
Okay,
Thank
we
you.
do have another caller. Caller live. Good morning. Welcome.
Yeah, good morning, GT. Good morning to your esteemed guest, Inspector, and also your viewing guest. Your viewing audience also. Just two quick things. One, three. One, to thank the officer for the information and the way she been, giving it out, because not everybody can communicate, and it's good that she's communicating. Two things, though. One is, I hope I'm not forgetting. One is she talks about conflict resolution. And I think that we need to just, and so many people say conflict resolution, but most of us don't know. I happen to be one of those who have done a number of courses and also taught conflict resolution. But to me, it comes across a lot of time as a cliche. I think we should really make a serious effort to ensure that people understand the mechanism and the process of how you deal with conflict, including sometimes just taking a deep breath, so they could have a different perspective. Secondly, the information is very useful, but I'm wondering the people who really need, and I've said it before, who really need those kind of coaxing or who need that kind of incitement, they're not listening at the moment. How do we get them? The ones who would eventually be reckless or uncooperative. How do we get them outside GT's programs? Is there any way that the police could think about getting the people who really would violate to entertain what they have to say? Thank you. I hope I've made
Thank you, caller. Thank you very much. All right. Any response to the caller?
I want to ask him to start the process for us, because he would have got the information when he is in dialogue or discussion with other persons to just repeat or communicate with them, even within his small different groupings to share it. But of course, as an organization, as a division, we are looking at other avenues to contact persons or communicate with persons. Hence, one of our community policing strategies for 2026 and beyond, we've started it in 2025, is the various community forums where we go into the community underground to meet all and sundry. So certainly we are employing various mechanisms and avenues to do so, but thanks very much.
All right. Inspector Grant, I think we come to the state of the moment when we're going to have to take a wrap for today's edition. We are way over time already. I want to thank you for sharing the information, and I certainly hope for success in the activities in Carriacou Carnival 2026, and the best wishes good. Anything in closing before we take a wrap this morning?
Well, in closing, I want to say a special thank you to the management team of the Northern Division for doing an exceptionally good job thus far. None of our activities leading up to Carnival has had any crime or serious incidents, and it is because of that collaboration between the police and the community. Without the community, I cannot speak like that, and I want to ask for that to continue as we go deeper into the highlight of Carnival. Also, I want to urge all, if you see something, hear something, know something, to say something. And to my colleagues, let us continue to be professional. Even at times, we may have to enforce the law where we have to take actions that the patrons may not like. Let us be professional, firm, but at the same time respect all persons. I hate it when we address someone by boss and then we have to take some adverse action that they do not like, whether it's to arrest or issue a ticket. So let us be professional, and that's to my colleagues. Let us remain calm. Let us stay on top of our games. But to your patrons, come on out, have a safe Carnival 2026. And of course, whatever you see, as small as it may be, say something so we can continue to make Carriacou, Petit Martinique, and by extension Grenada, the safest on the map. Thank you.
Inspector Grant, once again, thank you so much, and the best wishes for the rest of the day.
Thank you, and the same to you.
Hey folks, that's where we're going to take a wrap for today's edition of To The Point. Thank all who contributed to us today's program. Thank you so much. Have a good one. That's why I say goodbye.